Well, howdy, folks. My name is Will Rogers. Do y'all like cowboys? I think most of America does. I think most of America always has. I was always given the title America's Favorite Cowboy. See, that title goes way back to my roots. I was born in Oklahoma on November 4th in 1879. And you see, my first job actually was being a cowboy. And I did that for a while. Eventually, though, I did move on and I joined the circus. I know what you're thinking. America's favorite cowboy joined the circus? But this was actually not just your average circus. This was the Wild West Circus. And my role there was trick roping and trick riding. Man, I loved it. That was one of my favorite things. See, I always loved entertaining. I've always loved making people smile, making people laugh. And so whenever I left the circus, I decided to get into comedy. No better way of seeing people smile and making people laugh than that, right? But what I chose to do was not just your regular stand-up comedian. I wanted to talk about politics. See, politics is one of those subjects that makes people sad, gets people down. But I wanted to put a positive spin on it. I wanted to make people smile about the things that was going on in the world, make them laugh during the hard times. So I got into political comedy. And I did that for most of my career, for most of my life. And I think a lot of that is what people really remember me for. See, I did a lot in my life. I got married to a beautiful woman named Betty, and we have 4 kids together. Had a great life as a family. I started acting eventually, and I was in Broadway, and then I went into film, and I did a lot of silent films, very few that actually had any sound. That was the times. But you see, I never stopped my comedy. I never stopped my political commentary. We were in the time of World War I, and it was really important that people had a smile on their face during such a tragic time, during such a hard time in their lives. The whole world was a mess. And they needed someone to bring a smile to them. They needed someone to sit there and make them laugh about the things that were going on. Eventually, I did get into acting, and then I got into writing. I wrote for the New York Times. I wrote for the Saturday Evening Post. In fact, Saturday Evening Post, you've probably seen pictures of me there. Some of my most famous pictures are from the Saturday Evening Post. I did a lot of promotions for them. But I loved writing. I wrote every week for both of these papers. I wrote about politics. I tried to make people smile, try to make them laugh about it. And I did that until the day that I died. I did eventually get into broadcast. I eventually got into national radio broadcasting, and that was one of my biggest joys. I loved talking on the radio. I loved reaching so many people at one time and making so many people laugh at one time. And I think a lot of people came to love me even more during that time frame. In fact, my most famous speech was from radio broadcasting. And that was my bacon, beans, and limousine speech. See, this was taking place during the Great Depression. And during the Great Depression, it was named well. People were not happy. People were in a very hard time in their lives. This nation was hurting. And so I tried to make people laugh, tried to make them smile. I think a lot of what people loved the most about me, because I was just a good old boy. I was trying to make people smile, make people laugh. Unfortunately, my life did come to an end rather abruptly and a lot sooner than we would have expected. It wasn't an illness, it wasn't anything like that. But rather, I took a plane ride with a friend of mine, and our plane went down in Alaska. And I died very tragically and very suddenly. But I'm happy with the life that I lived. I made people laugh. I made people smile. I had roping and riding. What more could a guy could ask for? Like I said, I'm just a good old boy. But I was one that just wanted to make people smile. And I think that's why they called me America's Favorite Cowboy.